Once upon a time in a village nestled between rolling hills and a sparkling river, there lived a hard-working farmer named John. John was known for his infectious laughter and his fields of golden wheat that stretched as far as the eye could see. But John's joy knew no bounds when he struck gold. It wasn't just any gold, it was gold in abundance, enough to change his life and the lives of his children forever. News of John's newfound wealth spread like wildfire, and soon the village folk were at his doorstep with outstretched hands, each with a sob story ready to be told. Among them was a cunning woman who went by the name of Penelope. She had a way with words that could melt even the iciest of hearts. With tears streaming down her face, she told John that her family was in dire straits. Her husband had abandoned her, leaving her penniless and alone with 3 children to care for. Touched by her tale, John reached out and handed her a substantial sum of money, which she accepted with promises of repaying him. However, what transpired next left John baffled. Instead of using the money to improve her dire situation, Penelope spent it on fancy dresses, expensive jewelry and cosmetics, all the while bragging about her good fortune to anyone who would listen. This display of extravagance piqued John's curiosity, and he began following her, eager to uncover the source of her sudden wealth. He saw her entering the homes of the village's wealthiest, spending lavishly and leaving with even more money than before. It became evident that these weren't just friendly visits. Each visit resulted in Penelope returning home with more money than she had initially left with, leading John to suspect that she wasn't merely receiving gifts, but rather extracting money from these households through deceit. Determined to expose her, John confronted Penelope, who, taken aback by his accusation, feigned innocence. She swore that she had earned every penny and challenged John to prove otherwise. With a mischievous grin, John accepted the challenge, knowing he had already gathered enough evidence to condemn her. The following day, John organized a public meeting in the village square, where he exposed Penelope's fraudulent activities, detailing how she had deceived the villagers into parting with their money under the pretense of needing assistance. To his surprise, many villagers, including those he had helped, turned against him, siding with Penelope and berating John for tarnishing her reputation. Overwhelmed by their reaction, John retreated to his home, heartbroken and disillusioned by the deceit he had encountered. He locked himself in his room, refusing to let his children or the villagers inside. Days turned into weeks, and John seemed determined to isolate himself from the world. His children, worried about their father's well-being, decided to take matters into their own hands. One day, they managed to slip into their father's room and found him in possession of a large amount of gold, enough to supply every family in the village with a generous sum. Realizing that their father intended to distribute this wealth to punish those who had wronged him, the children intervened, begging him to reconsider. They reminded their father of his kind and forgiving nature and pleaded with him to change his mind. Eventually, John relented, agreeing to forgive the villagers, but not before devising a clever plan to expose Penelope's greed once and for all. He announced that he would host a grand feast inviting the entire village, including Penelope. The news spread like wildfire, and soon the village square was bustling with people from all corners of the town. There were farmers, merchants, priests, and even the village elder. All were eager to partake in the feast John had prepared. Amongst them was Penelope, who arrived dressed in one of her finest gowns, adorned with diamonds that glittered under the afternoon sun. She took her seat alongside the other villagers, unaware of the trap that had been laid for her. As the feast commenced, John made a grand announcement. He declared that he would bestow a portion of his land to each family in the village, ensuring their financial security for years to come. The villagers erupted in cheers, believing they had struck gold quite literally. However, John surprised them all by revealing that he had set aside a particularly large plot of land for Penelope, enough to make her the wealthiest person in the village. Once again, the crowd cheered, this time in honor of Penelope, who, caught off guard, could only manage a weak smile. Little did she know that John had carefully chosen this particular field. It was his field of barley, which, unlike wheat, could not be sold for profit and was only used for animal fodder. Though seemingly generous, John's gift had actually stripped Penelope of her wealth. As the days passed, Penelope realized the gravity of her situation. The barley field, with its lack of commercial value, was draining her resources. She found herself in a financial hole, unable to sell her unwanted gift and burdened by the ongoing expenses. To add to her misfortune, John ensured that the field was isolated, making transportation a hassle for Penelope. Her attempts to return the favor by offering the field to her neighbors were met with refusal. They had received their share of John's generosity and had no need for additional land. Meanwhile, John, observing Penelope's predicament from afar, couldn't help but feel a sense of satisfaction. He had not only exposed her greed, but also made sure that she suffered the consequences of her actions. As the seasons changed, so did Penelope's fortunes. She went from being the envy of the village to being pitied by all. Her fine clothes were replaced by simple, practical garments. Her once manicured hands now bore the marks of hard labor. Her extravagant lifestyle became a thing of the past, replaced by the harsh realities of her situation. One day, Filled with remorse and regret, Penelope decided to seek out John. She stood at his doorstep, no longer the proud and haughty woman he once knew, but a shadow of her former self, humbled and broken. She confessed her wrongdoing, begging John to forgive her and help her regain her lost fortune. But John, though initially taken aback by the sight of the once wealthy woman reduced to such despair, remained firm. He refused to forgive her, citing her betrayal and reminding her of the pain she had caused him and the village folk. Penelope, realizing that forgiveness wouldn't come easily, vowed to change her ways. She promised to work tirelessly to regain their trust, and pledged to never again engage in deceit or manipulation. Touched by her sincerity, John offered her a job working in his fields. It was a humble beginning, but Penelope saw it as a chance to redeem herself. She rolled up her sleeves and got to work, learning firsthand the value of honest labor. As the months passed, Penelope proved to be a diligent worker, her determination to make amends evident in every task she undertook. She weeded fields, planted crops, and helped gather the harvest. Her hands, once soft and pampered, now calloused and strong, were a testament to her hard work. Slowly but surely, she began to earn the villagers' trust. They saw in her a changed person, hardworking, honest, and full of remorse for her past actions. Yet despite their growing acceptance, Penelope never forgot the humiliation she had endured. She remembered the pitying glances, the whispers behind her back, and the stark reality of her financial situation. Fueled by this memory, she worked even harder, determined to regain not only the villagers' trust, but also her own self. Years went by, and Penelope's dedication to her work paid off. She had not only redeemed herself in the eyes of the villagers, but had also become a valuable member of the community. Her story became a cautionary tale, a reminder for all of them about the pitfalls of greed and the importance of staying true to one's values. Penelope, once the epitome of a gold digger, was now known as the most hardworking and honest farmer's daughter in the village.